Returning to my high school days, I accidentally bumped into the arms of the man who would one day become my husband. At that time, still the carefree playboy, he teased, "I like women who are busty, slim-waisted, and long-legged. A sprout like you doesn't stand a chance." I nodded in understanding and replied, "You're blocking my way to find the top student." Later, rumors spread through the school that I was dating the academic star. He broke down, cornered me, and threatened, "Chinwan, if you dare start dating early, I'll break your legs." By the time we reached university, the academic star confessed his feelings to me. The one who preferred busty and slim-waisted women ended up carrying me off, pinning me down, and coaxingly asked, "Sweetheart, want to try what it's like with a 20-year-old?" I had crashed into a warm chest, and reflexively clutched at the corner of his clothing. In an instant, countless memories flooded my mind, before I could steady myself. A teasing voice came from above, "Chinwan, have you also learned to throw yourself into my arms?" I looked up, and was met with an extraordinarily handsome face. His slightly squinted, peach blossom eyes were filled with a playful charm. I had seen his face thousands of times, yet my heart still skipped a beat. His name was Liu Yi, my husband, or rather, my husband from a past life. Not letting go. "You like me that much, pity." His speech paused, giving me a half-smiling, half-serious glance. "I like women who are busty, slim-waisted, and long-legged. You, my sprout, stand no chance." I realized then that I was never his type, even in our past life. After over a year of marriage, he never touched me. I let go, furrowed my brow, and took a few steps back. "You're blocking my way to find the academic star." I tried to move past him, but he grabbed my backpack. "School's over. Why not come home with me instead of looking for the academic star?" I yanked my backpack back, giving him a cool glance. "Mind your own business, Chinwan. Gotten a bit too bold, have you? If it weren't for the old man's orders, this young master wouldn't bother with you." After saying that, regardless of my struggles, he wrapped one arm around me and forcefully carried me away and stuffed me into his car. My face flushed with anger, I pushed him away. "Stay away from me." His eyes crinkled slightly, deliberately leaning in a bit closer. "What's wrong today? You're as temperamental as a pufferfish." Ignoring him, he chuckled lightly and hooked my chin with his finger. "Angry already? Don't touch me." I slapped his hand away and turned my face towards the car window, recalling images of him with other flirtatious women from a past life. The voluptuous women looked at me with mocking eyes. "Could your bland figure ever excite Mr. Liu?" Then she casually pulled down her neckline, revealing ambiguous love bites. "Have you ever seen his wild side in bed?" Suddenly, I felt nauseous. Our marriage began as a drunken joke about a union between the Liu and Chi families when we were both too young, our parents still alive. After my parents passed away unexpectedly, I was taken in by the Liu family. Unexpectedly, Liu's father, a man who greatly valued promises, forced Liu Yi to marry me after we graduated from university. Perhaps due to pressure, Liu Yi did not refuse, and I wasn't opposed to the marriage either. After all, being someone who values looks, Liu Yi was undeniably handsome, even without love. Just seeing him was a pleasure. I thought I could overlook his infidelity, but reality proved otherwise. Deep down, I clearly realized I liked him, even though I was aware that he wasn't a good person, an acknowledgement I found difficult to accept. So, I immediately asked Liu Yi for a divorce and moved out of his house. As I drove, I found myself aimlessly unsure of where to go next. Then, after a head-on collision with a truck, I opened my eyes to find myself back in my high school days, facing Liu Yi teasing me about being skinny, hitting a sore spot once again. Perhaps because I was a premature baby and often ill as a child, my development was slower than my peers. I always appeared younger than my age, even after being taken in by the Liu family 3 years ago and receiving special care. My physical development still lagged behind my peers. "Alright, it's all my fault. Have some milk to calm down," Liu Yi said, handing me a bottle of milk with a tone like he was talking to a child. I was so angry I wanted to smash the milk bottle on his head. Whether it was Liu Yi now or 6 years later, he was equally irritating. He kept talking and playing with a strand of my hair. When I couldn't take it anymore and kicked him towards the other side of the car, he suddenly asked the driver to pull over. The window rolled down, and I heard Liu Yi whistle towards the roadside. "Hey, goddess, need a ride?" Looking sideways, I saw Jiang Ruan, dressed in a black leather skirt and carrying a guitar case, the campus goddess of University A. Liu Yi had often visited University A to pursue her. Despite his poor academic performance, He claimed that the goddess should wait for him to get into university. Jiang Ruan, unaware of my presence in the back seat, started to open the car door. Lu Yi pointed to the front seat. Goddess, sit in the front. My little friend here is throwing a tantrum and won't let me near. Jiang Ruan looked over and nodded with a smile at me. Once she got into the car, all of Lu Yi's attention was drawn to her, with him endlessly praising her. He complimented her skirt, the small braid beside her ear, and everything about her that matched Lu Yi's aesthetic perfectly. Unfortunately, in a past life, Lu Yi couldn't decide on his own marriage, and his dream of marrying the goddess was shattered. Jiang Ruan had joined a band outside of school, where she was the guitarist. They were performing at a bar tonight, and she invited Lu Yi and me to watch. I excused myself, saying I needed to study at home. Lu Yi disagreed irrationally and dragged me straight into the bar saying, "All you know is studying, you've become dumb from it." Facing Lu Yi, who was already 1.8 meters tall, I felt as powerless as a little chick. Other than calling him a tyrant, I had no choice. After sitting down, Jiang Ruan left first to prepare backstage. After a few romantic songs, it was Jiang Ruan's band's turn. Different from the earlier soft tunes, their music ignited the whole venue, and even I couldn't help but be captivated. Jiang Ruan, playing the guitar on stage, was effortlessly cool, making me admit that Lu Yi had great taste. She was someone even I liked. A hand waved in front of me. "Are your eyes glued to the stage because she's that beautiful?" "Yes, very cool," I replied, brushing Lu Yi's hand away and applauding enthusiastically for the performance. "Cooler than me." I rolled my eyes at him as a response to his narcissism. Lu Yi clicked his tongue and shook his head. "You've seen nothing yet. Let me show you what cool really is." As one performance ended, he stood up, walked to the stage, and after whispering something to the drummer, took his place. Under the spotlight, he winked at me as if to say, "Watch this." With a mix of roguish charm and wildness, he easily thrilled the entire audience with his drumming. People in the crowd began to scream and take photos. "That guy on the drums is way too handsome." Even Jiang Ruan showed a look of admiration. As we were leaving, Lu Yi walked backwards in front of me, a smug look on his face. "How about that? I'm cooler than those professional musicians, right? With this face of mine, I'd be a top star in the entertainment industry." "Lu Yi." Jiang Ruan ran out after him, her voice still slightly breathless. Lu Yi stopped and turned, his peach blossom eyes smiling warmly at her. "What's up?" Jiang Ruan moved closer, seemed like she wanted to say something, but hesitated upon seeing me. "You guys talk. I'll head to the car first." I thoughtfully gave them some space. From the car, I watched the two of them under the dim streetlight, standing facing each other. Jiang Ruan tucked her slightly messy hair behind her ear, her cheeks tinged with shyness. She clenched her fist, as if mustering all her courage, and then on tiptoe, she kissed Lu Yi on the cheek. My pupils dilated, my heart felt as if it was being maliciously squeezed. Lu Yi suddenly looked over, even though I knew he couldn't see me. I still guiltily averted my gaze like a thief. When I got back in the car, Lu Yi casually wiped his cheek. "You didn't see anything just now, did you?" "No." He seemed to breathe a sigh of relief and tousled my hair. "Why do I feel like you're still not happy? Are you still mad about my joke earlier, calling you Bean Sprout?" I moved his hand away, not wanting to deal with him. After getting home, I hastily ate dinner and then retreated to my room, pulling out my workbook. I stared at the unfamiliar problems until my head throbbed, and finally, I just closed the book and went to bed. In my groggy mind, all sorts of jumbled memories threatened to explode my brain. Gradually, my entire body felt as if it was in a furnace, my bones aching from the heat. In a haze, I seemed to see Lu Yi's face, twisted and terrifying. He reached out to hug me, and I stared at his cheek, crying out in irritation. I disgustingly pushed his face away, but he kept coming closer, so I scratched wildly at his face. He restrained my hands and held me tightly, his voice both anxious and soothing by my ear. "Sweetheart, be good, okay? It won't hurt once we get to the hospital." When I awoke, I was lying in Lu Yi's arms, feeling sore and weak all over. He was behind me, holding my hand as he clipped my nails. I didn't move, just quietly watched his actions. When he finished with the last nail, I moved my head and looked up at him. His handsome face now bore several scratch marks. "Lu Yi, will you be my brother?" He placed his hand on my forehead. "Silly, haven't I always been your brother?" A sense of security instantly filled my hollow heart, as if I had grabbed a lifeline. Maybe I was wrong in a past life. Being relatives suits us better than lovers. With this realization, even Lu Yi seemed more agreeable to me. I guiltily pointed at the scratch marks on his face. Did I do that? He propped me up against the headboard and took a thermal lunchbox from the table. He scooped up a spoonful of rice porridge and brought it to my lips. Who else would dare touch my face but you? I gave a sheepish smile and apologized. I reached for the spoon to feed myself, but he moved it away. Don't move around, you really are my ancestor now. The old man would have come through the phone to smack me for not taking good care of you if he knew. I don't know how he gets his information so quickly abroad. There must be a traitor in the family, daring to tattle on me. Listening to his complaints, I suddenly felt like laughing. It's great to have a chance to live again. This time, I will definitely find my happiness. After recovering from my illness, I threw myself into my studies. Besides that, I began to drink milk and eat nutritious meals every day, and I kept up with regular exercise. I believed that with my efforts, I would develop better than in my previous life. Luyi noticed that I had signed up for yoga at the gym and he signed up for basketball. Usually, at this time after school, he would have been playing games on his computer. I thought about it and advised him, you don't need to exercise just to keep me company. I can manage on my own. He glanced at me sideways. Who said I'm doing this for you? I just felt like playing basketball. I shrugged and ignored him. An hour later, when the yoga class ended, I was leaning on the wall as I walked out of the studio. As soon as I stepped out, a hand grabbed my arm. And Luya's voice came from above. What's wrong with your legs? Trying hard not to cry, I said. I have a cramp. He sighed and squatted in front of me. Chi-wan, what would you do without me? Come on, I'll carry you back. No need, I can walk slowly. Luyi reached out and swept me into his arms, disregarding my protest. Hold tight, or don't blame me if you fall. Luyi, put me down. He pretended to throw me, which frightened me into clinging tightly around his neck. His prank successful, he laughed heartily. Now you're behaving. Annoyed, I pinched his cheek hard. He then suddenly sped up. Luyi, slow down, I'm scared, say something nice. Luyi is the kindest person in the world. Luyi is not nice at all. He's the most unreasonable person in the world. That was my first thought when he accused me of puppy love a week ago. After a pop quiz, looking at my disastrous test paper, I approached Yan Zhao from the next class, hoping to discuss my academic issues. After all, he was known for his excellent academic performance and was patient and good-tempered. His way of explaining topics was easier to understand than the teacher's, and I had consulted him before. This time, too, I approached him with ease. After flipping through my test paper, Yan Zhao gave me a strange look. Did you write this mess on purpose? You weren't this bad before. I smiled awkwardly. I hadn't touched high school problems for years. How could my level not drop? If I said I woke up and forgot everything I knew, would you believe me? He didn't comment and just started explaining the problems to me. This continued for a week, and as a thank you, I would bring him some tasty treats. Over time, rumors started flying. Rumors said I was feigning ignorance under the guise of seeking advice, but actually, I was pursuing Yan Zhao. Some even took misaligned photos and posted them on the school forum. What was merely me whispering a question in Yan Zhao's ear was shot as if I was kissing him. My leaning on his chair was captured as if I was resting on his shoulder. When I was unaware of these pictures on the forum, Luyi suddenly appeared. His face full of anger, he yanked me up from the seat next to Yan Zhao. Luyi, what are you doing? He gripped my hand painfully. His strength was great. I just couldn't break free. After being forcibly dragged out of the classroom, Luyi pulled me into an empty classroom. He trapped me between his arms and scolded me harshly. Qinwan, how old are you to be thinking about dating so early? I'm not dating anyone early. If you're not dating, then why were you so close and affectionate with him? If it's a peck on the cheek now, will it be a kiss on the lips next? I told you I'm not. Stop falsely accusing me. I had never been yelled at like this in my life. He wouldn't believe what I said, and in my panic, tears uncontrollably started flowing. A knock on the door interrupted us, and the anxious voice of Yan Zhao came through. Qinwan, are you in there? Lui's temper flared even more. From now on, you are forbidden from seeing him. Do you hear? Who I see is none of your business. Whether I'm dating or not has nothing to do with you either. Stop meddling in my life. Say that again. Lui punched the door frame. Terrified, I didn't dare to breathe, just staring with tears swirling in my eyes. Qinwan, remember this, if I catch you dating, I'll break your legs. Just then, the other door to the classroom was pushed open, and Yan Zhao stormed in. Let her go. I'm disciplining my person. What's it to you? Get lost. I pushed him forcefully with both hands. I'm not your possession. You're the one who should get lost, Louis sneered. Oh really, I can't manage you, is that it? Then I'll call someone who can. 2 hours later, at the guidance office, Louis's mother and Yan Zhao's parents were all present. The corridor outside the window was filled with curious classmates. I wished I could just disappear. In my last life, I never had to have my parents called in during my whole student career. This life, however, I was experiencing a social death. Louis, the instigator, stood with his arms crossed against the wall, waiting to see me get disciplined. I glared at him fiercely and explained to everyone that Yan Zhao and I were not in a romantic relationship. Yan Zhao also insisted it was all rumors and demanded an investigation into who was spreading manipulated photos online. After a series of questions and investigations, the truth finally came to light. The student who took the photos admitted their mistake and apologized to me and Yan Zhao. Louis grabbed the student by the collar, furious. Are you sick? Who gave you the right to take those pictures? Louis, let go, look at yourself. His mother scolded with a disgusted look, apologized to Nguyen. Louis approached me, his face showing some embarrassment. I'm sorry, I misjudged you, but how do you explain being so close physically as a boy and a girl? I was about to lose my temper when his mother slapped the back of his head. You flirt with girls all day like a butterfly and have the nerve to regulate Nguyen's normal interactions with classmates. Louis, unwilling to back down, tried to argue but was cut off by his mother. Say another word and I'll cut off all your cards. Why would you cut my cards? I still need to buy her a dress. His voice was so low, almost a whisper. Thinking he was still arguing, his mother glared at him. She then turned to thank Yan Zhao and invited him to visit their home often. Louis snorted disdainfully, his eyes rolling. After the drama, Louis's mother hurried back to work. School was just about to be dismissed, and Louis grabbed my arm, wanting to take me home. I sharply pulled away. Men and women should not touch each other. He took a deep breath, his knuckles ready to rap my head, but he restrained himself. On the way back, Louis opened the car door for me, but I ignored him and walked straight to the passenger side. At dinner time, he sat on the left side of the rectangular dining table, so I took the seat on the far right. As he stood up to move closer, I raised my hand to stop him. Men and women should not get too close. This upset Louis so much that he lost his appetite and sullenly returned to his room. Before bedtime, there was a knock on my door. Opening it, I saw Louis and was about to close the door on him, but he wedged his foot in and handed me a cup of hot milk, pleading, "Sweetheart, can you stop ignoring me? Please." Hearing him use the nickname that my parents used to call me, I froze. It brought back memories of when they were still alive. After they passed away, I went through a period of isolation. When I first moved into the Liu household, I was cautious and barely spoke. At night, I would hide under my covers and cry, the image of my parents leaving me haunting my every moment, often making me so upset that I would fall ill. Louis somehow learned to use that nickname during my bouts of sickness, comforting me by coaxing me to take my medicine and get injections, caring for me like a true older brother. Remembering his past kindness, I silently took the milk cup from him. "This is an exception," I said. His eyes lit up, and he immediately promised, "I swear I'll always trust you unconditionally from now on." Knowing he had upset me, Louis became especially attentive. The next day, to my surprise, he even woke up early, not only calling me to get up but also thoughtfully preparing my toothpaste. After I washed up, he mysteriously guided me to sit in front of the vanity mirror. "I'll do your hair today." Stunned, I almost jumped. "Are you out of your mind?" He clicked his tongue. "You don't trust me. I've practiced a lot." It was strange to think of a man learning to style hair, but considering his flirtatious nature, it wasn't so surprising. It was probably another skill he picked up to charm girls. I expected him to tie a simple ponytail, but instead, he took out 2 braided bands adorned with small pearls and started braiding the hair by my ears. "How does it look? Pretty, right?" Staring at the mirror, I gave him a thumbs up. True to his form, he really put in the effort to charm girls. No wonder, despite his flirty ways, he was still popular among the ladies. If he were a bit more faithful, he could have been hailed as a living legend. On the weekend, Yan Zhao came to the Liu house to see me. Seeing him, Luya's face darkened. "For someone touted as a scholar, you should understand basic pleasantries, right?" Yan Zhao pushed up his glasses and said calmly, "Liu, you might not be aware, but your mother hired me to tutor Qin Wan until the college entrance exams." Liu clearly didn't believe him, but before he could react, Mother Liu came downstairs. Seeing Yan Zhao, she warmly invited him to sit. "Mom, are we going bankrupt?" Why hire such a mediocre tutor for Qinwan? Mother Lu glanced disdainfully at him. Yen is not like you, all about fun and games. He's already self-taught all the high school material. I knew this better than anyone, having seen it in my past life, while all the other students were buried in their books. Yan Zhao was already relaxing and studying college-level material. I once asked why he didn't skip grades and take the college entrance exam early. He said he wanted to experience high school life. I don't like this tutor. Get another one, Lu Yi grumbled. Mother Lu elegantly sipped her coffee. It's not for you. As long as Nuan Nuan likes him, that's enough. If you don't want to study, go out and play with your friends. Don't stay home and disturb Nuan Nuan's studies, Mom. Am I really your son? I've been wanting to ask the same question. What exactly about you resembles me or your dad? Seeing Lu Yi at a loss for words, I smirked secretly. After greeting Lu Ye's mother, I called Yan Zhao to the upstairs study. Not long after we closed the door, Lu Yi arrived, seemingly on a whim, saying he also wanted to join us in studying. Yan Zhao and I exchanged glances, thinking it was just a momentary interest of his and didn't take it seriously. After forcefully inserting himself between Yan Zhao and me, Lu Yi then established a study method. If I had questions I didn't understand, I should let Yan Zhao explain to him first. Once he understood, he would explain it to me, he claimed. This way, the grasp of knowledge is more solid. I sighed heavily and laid my head on the desk. Lu Yi, by the time you understand something enough to explain it to me, the day might be over. Who are you looking down on? I'm not stupid. I just don't want to study. In fact, Lu Yi proved his point quickly, understanding concepts almost immediately. He was exactly that type of person. Watching Lu Yi explain things to me, I felt like the world had turned upside down. Suddenly, he tapped my head with his pen. Are you zoning out while I'm explaining this to you? Suddenly, being tutored by someone who usually underperformed in class was a surreal experience. I looked at Yan Zhao, feeling a mix of amusement and disbelief. And he just smiled knowingly. What are you looking at? Focus on the problem, said Lu Yi, blocking my view as he leaned on the desk. A month passed, and Lu Yi was still around. His friends no longer called him out to hang out. He was determined to stay home and tutor me. His friends were shocked. Time flew, and before we knew it, it was time for the college entrance exams. Lu Ye's improvement was nothing short of miraculous. It was hard to believe that in my previous life, he had to rely on his family's donations and a sports recommendation to get into University A. Soon after the exams, it was my 18th birthday. The Lu family organized a simple and warm birthday party for me, inviting close friends. Everything was similar to my previous life, except this time Yan Zhao was also there. After the dinner, as I saw my friends out, Yan Zhao, the last to leave, handed me a small gift box. A birthday present. I hope you like it. I accepted it with surprise. I thought those books you gave me were my present. Setting a low expectation then giving the real gift adds to the surprise, doesn't it? He replied. I couldn't help but laugh. Indeed, having him around was the biggest surprise of all. He was the unexpected that I had anticipated. Open it and see. If you don't like it, I can get you another. I was curious about what kind of gift a top student would give. Upon opening the box, I almost laughed out loud. Do you think it's cheesy? I shook my head with a smile. No, I love it. After all, who wouldn't like gold? Yan Zhao also smiled. There are two ways gold is formed, from the death of massive stars in the universe or from the collision of neutron stars. These intertwining neutron stars, staring at each other beyond time, explode at the moment of their final touch, sending ripples through the universe and scattering gold across the vast cosmos. The explosion of these neutron stars occurs about once every 100,000 years, making gold a romantic symbol of the galaxy. I held the gold rabbit pendant in my palm. Is this the romance of a science student? No, if it were anyone else, I'd simply say gold retains its value, he replied, the atmosphere becoming subtly charged. Nuanyuan, let's both apply to University B, he suggested, holding the necklace. I thought of Lu Yi for a moment, then shook my head to clear him from my thoughts, and finally said, okay. Returning to my room, I bumped into Lu Yi. You're happy with his gift, but when I give you a gift, you don't even give it a glance. Who really matters more to you? I felt a twinge of guilt remembering how he had mysteriously wanted to show me the gift he prepared that morning, which I had declined. I had already known what he was going to give me. A room full of princess dresses. I remember the first time he took me to see them in my past life. I was completely dumbfounded. Lu Yi, are you planning to start a wholesale clothing business? I asked. He looked a bit disappointed. You don't like it? I'm 18, not 8. I'm past the age of dreaming like that, I told him. So in this life, when he suggested once again that I check out the gift, I declined and said we'd go another day. Chinwan, do you like him? His sudden question snapped me back to reality. No. In Luya's eyes was a depth I couldn't fathom. If you say no, then I believe you. He handed me a black box. Happy birthday, 18-year-old Chinwan. As he walked away, I opened the box. Inside was a key and an address. Driven by curiosity, I decided to check it out. Half an hour later, I arrived at the destination. As I opened the door to the apartment, my mom's voice greeted me. My dear baby is home. Tears instantly fell as I entered the room. Everything was so familiar. Just like the home in my memories, two adorable life-sized robots approached me. My dad's familiar voice echoed. My baby is 18 already. Why the tears? I burst out laughing, my eyes blurry with tears as I followed them to the dining room. The room was filled with balloons and flowers, and photos of me from over the years. On the table was an unlit birthday cake. A projection on the wall played videos of my childhood birthdays up until I was 8. In the video, my parents sang happy birthday. And as I closed my eyes to make a wish, my dad playfully smeared cake on my nose. I screamed and smeared it back, laughing heartily. What's your wish? My mom asked. Naively, I had said, I want to be mommy and daddy's little princess forever. With an endless supply of princess dresses, my heart skipped a beat as those blurry memories became clear. I had forgotten I ever made such a wish. Reflecting on the past, it seemed like every birthday wish came true, except for this year's. Thinking back to when I was 18 in my past life, and Louis gave me a room full of princess dresses, my nose tingled. So that was why he had given me so many dresses. Only now, in this life, did I understand his intentions, and it made my heart ache. The video continued, showing animated characters filling in for the birthdays they hadn't spent with me. When it reached my 18th birthday, the animated character of my dad told me to look for a gift in the room. I followed a path laid with petals to the balcony and pushed open the door leading to the next room. A room full of princess dresses greeted my eyes. For a moment, it felt like I was back in my past life. Only in that past life, Louis hadn't let me open the door to the next room. I had misunderstood his intentions. Even felt he was being perfunctory, overwhelmed with guilt. I wanted to see Louis immediately, to tell him how much I loved this gift, truly loved it, but when I got home, I found out Louis wasn't there. I called him, and Jiang Wan answered. Louis is drunk, come pick him up, she said. I hurried to the bar where Jiang Wan was, and found Louis completely inebriated. As I approached and tugged at him a few times, Louis, let's go home. He looked at me with bleary eyes and suddenly wrapped his arms around my waist. This gesture was far too intimate. I felt a twitch in my eyelid. Glancing at Jiang Wan beside me, I quickly pushed Luya's arm away from my waist, worried she might misunderstand. Luyi, with his eyes reddened, looked at me and protested. Can't I even hug you? What about when you were sick and snuggled into my arms? I felt overwhelmed and quickly covered his mouth with my hand, fearing he might say something more suggestive. I explained to Jiang Wan. Don't listen to his nonsense. Jiang Wan appeared indifferent. Oh. I've known about this for a long time. You knew already. I wasn't sure whether to be surprised by her calmness or by the fact that Louis told her everything. His brain might not be quite right. I suggest you have it checked, she commented. I was about to retort to her personal attack when she added, he said he liked me and wanted to pursue me, but every time it ends up with me initiating. If he's not asking me to teach him how to braid hair, he's asking for help picking out dresses. I proposed we date, and he wasn't happy, saying he can't start dating early and corrupt me. Is he joking with me? Her words once again turned my understanding on its head. Wasn't Louis supposed to like Jiang Wan? I had even thought they were already together. Finally managing to get Louis back into the car after much effort, he kept ranting. Qin Wan is a heartless ingrate. Considering he was drunk, I let it slide. Trying to get him to sit properly, he shoved my hand away. Go find your top student. Don't bother with me. You only have eyes for him anyway. I genuinely started ignoring him. But then he looked at me with teary eyes, playing the victim. Qin Wan, you're truly ruthless, really leaving me behind. Have I not been good enough to you? I worry you'll freeze when it's cold, and suffocate when it's hot. When you felt insecure and sick, I held you all night long, my arms and legs numb, wishing I could take your illness, anything you glanced at. I hurriedly brought to you, fearing you'd lose interest if I was too slow, your casual wish for a princess dress, I took seriously like a fool. carefully selecting and saving up for years to fill a room, and you didn't even look at them. Now that you don't need me anymore, you want to run off with another man. Don't think I didn't hear about you planning to elope with him to University B and leave Jiangqing. You're heartless. Why cover my mouth, afraid of me saying what you're doing? I insist on telling. Looking at the driver in the front seat, I felt so embarrassed, my toes curling, as if I really was the villain. After much trouble, I managed to get him back to the Liu residence and into his room, but then he started making a scene again. He sat on the balcony railing, his eyes reddening. If you dare go with him, I'll jump from here. I won't live. I took a deep breath, pressing my temples. Liu Yi, what are you doing? If you don't want to become a laughingstock tomorrow, you better come down now. You call me unreasonable, a laughingstock. I'm already the biggest joke. For years I guarded against him like a thief, yet you still flirt with him. You found me annoying for a long time, haven't you? Interrupting your romantic talks. Fine, I'll die right now and let you be together. Liu Yi, this is the second floor. You won't die from falling. I tried to pull him down from the railing, however. He shrugged off my hand and deliberately fell backward. Liu Yi. I was terrified and tried to pull him back, but his body weight pulled me down too. As we hit the ground, a pair of hands firmly held me in an embrace. Liu Yi landed on his back with a dull thud. Seeing blood trickle from the back of his head, I felt a chill run through me. Liu Yi. This dramatic episode ended with Liu Yi being hospitalized. After waking up, he seemed to remember the absurd things he had done, even when his parents scolded him, pointing fingers at him. He didn't talk back but silently took it all in, appearing much more mature overnight. Once they left, I sighed and looked at Liu. How come I never noticed before how much trouble you could stir up? Is jumping off buildings fun? I asked. In response, he silently covered his face with the blanket, a gesture of sheer despair. I couldn't help but laugh, pulling down his blanket. The gift you prepared for me. I went to see it last night, and I loved it. Liu. Thank you for everything you've done. Do you really like it? Don't you think it's childish? I really like it, a lot. He didn't just fulfill a childhood wish of mine but also one from when I was 18. I had always hoped my parents could witness me growing up. Liu made me feel as though they truly had a part in my growth, as if they never left. Do you like it more than the gift Yan Zhao gave you? Liu looked at me intently, facing his gaze. My heart skipped a beat. Those eyes were so compelling, although he was just looking. It felt like a declaration of love. I looked away and nodded. So, are you still considering going to University B? He might not have wanted to hear the answer to that question. Half jokingly, I countered, if I go to University B, are you going to jump off a building again? He turned his face away, ignoring me. Fortunately, when it came time to submit university applications, he didn't make a fuss anymore, but to my utter surprise, I received 2 admission letters from University B. When I saw Liu's name on one of them, I was sure the mailman hadn't made a mistake. I confronted Liu with the letter. You applied to University B too, as you see. He smiled at me. Why? I thought you always wanted to go to University A. What do you think? Liu stepped closer, causing me to step back until I was against a wall with no way to escape. He rested one hand beside my ear against the wall, leaning in slightly. His warm breath on my face. Why do you think I did it? He whispered. Heat rushed to my face, and I turned to run. I don't know. He blocked my way with his other hand, trapping me completely between his arms. Isn't it obvious enough? I've made a fool of myself, practically dying for you, and you don't think I see you as just a sister, do you? Isn't that what it is? I'm not your type. I used to think my ideal type needed to have a big chest, a slim waist, and long legs, and that anyone who didn't fit these criteria wasn't suitable. But all those standards are for people I don't love. When I fell for you, all those standards shattered. Liu. I like you, only you. My heart raced. More from disbelief than shock. Liu, go play this game with someone else. Don't joke with me, or we can't even be friends. I'm not joking, I'm serious, but I don't like you, and I'm afraid to like you, because of a past life. He casually dropped the bombshell. My eyes widened in shock. You remember too. As he nodded, all the bitterness in my heart surged forth. How can you even say you like me knowing you have memories from a past life? Does liking me mean constantly seeking the company of other women? Liu, you disgust me. Liu wrapped his arms around me from behind, stopping me from leaving. His voice was low and choked with emotion as he whispered in my ear, there was never anyone else, there has never been. The one I've loved from the beginning to the end has always been you. I've never touched anyone else. All those rumors are false. At first, I didn't understand that my feelings for you were of love. I thought my care and possessiveness were just because I saw you as a sister, but later, I realized it was different. So when the old man suggested we get married, I was truly happy, but soon I realized you didn't care about me, you weren't concerned about the scandals surrounding me, nor whether I came home or not. That's why I never dared to touch you, I was afraid you couldn't accept it. Lu Yi mentioned again the woman who came to provoke me at the beginning. He had never touched her. It was she who drugged him in an attempt to climb the social ladder. He simply turned the tables and let her face her own music, her plans thwarted and her reputation ruined. She came to me in a fit of rage, trying to drive a wedge between us, and I actually believed her. Without confirming with Lu Yi, I asked for a divorce. You have no idea how my heart shattered when I heard over the phone that you wanted to divorce me. Nuanyuan, since we have a chance to start over, can you give me another chance? I didn't give Lu Yi an answer because I was too scared to try again. In the following days, I kept avoiding Lu Yi. This avoidance lasted until the beginning of the school term. At this university far from home, the only two people I knew were Lu Yi and Yan Zhao. Because I was avoiding Lu Yi, I ended up interacting more with Yan Zhao. But Yan Zhao was also busy, right from the start. He was a favorite of the professors and was often pulled away for tasks. Even on the rare occasions we managed to make plans, Lu Yi would follow us. He was like a persistent shadow, impossible to shake off, giving me pitiful looks as if I were the one who had wronged him. One day, Yan Zhao suggested going to a movie, and I agreed. However, my interest waned when I saw the sci-fi film about outer space he had picked, which I knew was complex and hard to understand. But since Yan Zhao was interested, I didn't want to spoil his enjoyment. In the cinema, I was nearly dozing off and went to the restroom midway. Just as I left the restroom, I was pulled into a secluded corner and held tightly. I was so frightened that I struggled as my chin was lifted and I was kissed forcefully, with raw emotion and without finesse. Nuanyuan, you are mine, you clearly belong to me. I was shocked and angry, and worried about being discovered. I bit his lip hard, and he finally let me go. Lu Yi, what are you doing? He held me, burying his head in my neck. His voice hoarse. I'm just jealous of him, insanely jealous. Nuanyuan, please have some sympathy for me, let me hold you for a while. Lu Yi held me until the movie ended. It wasn't until Yan Zhao called that I pushed Lu Yi away. Let me go, Yan Zhao is looking for me. I had barely taken a few steps when Lu Yi pulled me back, causing a sharp pain in my neck as he bit and sucked, leaving a conspicuous red mark. Lu Yi. I covered my neck, my eyes red with anger. Nuanyuan, tell him to go back by himself. In October, it was Lu Ye's birthday. I was still hesitating whether to celebrate with him when he called first. A coughing sound came through the phone. Nuanyuan, I feel so awful. Are you coming to see if I'm okay? I arrived at his apartment 10 minutes later. This place was originally bought by Lu's father for us to live together. It was just that initially I wanted to avoid Lu Yi and went straight to live on campus. I rang the doorbell, but there was no response, so I called him, but no one answered. Worried that something had happened to him, I used my key to open the door. What greeted my eyes was Lu Yi, bare-chested and wearing only casual pants. His slightly wet hair was still dripping water, and the droplets slid down his handsome face to his sexy collarbone and chest. I forced myself to look away. I rang the doorbell, but you didn't answer. I came in because I was afraid something had happened to you. Is Nuanyuan worried about me? I choked at his question. It seems you're not that sick, so I'm leaving. Don't go. Will you stay with me for my birthday? I don't want to be all alone. My heart softened, and I stayed. His birthday celebration was a candlelit dinner, all prepared by himself. The fruit wine he made was delicious, but it was quite strong. His black shirt was unbuttoned at the top, and his skin shimmered seductively under the candlelight. Nuanyuan, do you like what you see? Want to touch? Seeing me silent, he added, tell me your true feelings, and I'll let you touch. It looks good, I want to touch. He smiled like a mischievous spirit, guiding my hand under his collar to glide across his chest. Nuanyuan, you like me, don't you? His lips were close to my ear, whispering these enticing words. He looked into my eyes, his warm breath mingling with mine, both ambiguous and scorching. Want to kiss me? Say you like me. I didn't speak but responded by kissing his lips. The next moment, he took control. The sound of our kisses and soft moans amplified in the quiet night. During a brief pause for breath, Lu Yi murmured, naughty Nuanyuan. The next day, I woke up to screams. Opening my eyes, I saw the startled face of Lu's mother. Lu Yi, I'm going to break your legs. how could you seduce Nuanyuan into bed when she's so young? A few minutes later. In the living room, Lu Yu was kneeling shirtless. The ambiguous marks all over his body made me want to crawl into a hole. What did I do to him last night? Am I that fierce? I covered most of my face with a pillow, listening to Lu's mother scold him. Actually, I didn't feel violated. If anything, I was the one who took advantage of him, glancing at the marks on his wrists. My toes curled on the floor, and fragmented memories came together. Under the dim light, I was straddling him, and Lu Yi, with a soul-capturing smile, stuffed his tie into my hand and coaxed, "Nuanyuan, say you love me, and I'm all yours. You can do whatever you want. If you're afraid that loving me doesn't feel secure, tie me up, lock me up, so I can only see you. Nuanyuan, say you love me." As if seduced by a devil, I uttered, "I love you." He triumphantly buried his head in my neck and chuckled, "Naughty Nuanyuan, I love you too. Now it's reward time." My mind was full of mosaic images, and I regretted it so much that I bit the pillow. Lu's mother's voice brought me back. "Nuanyuan, don't worry, Lu Yi will definitely take responsibility. Let's get engaged first, and then marry after graduation. How about that? I don't need him to take responsibility." Lu Yi became anxious. "Then you have to take responsibility for me. My innocence has been tarnished by you, and I'm already traumatized. I can't even look at other women. You must take responsibility." "Then why don't you try men?" I muttered softly. "Lu Yi, you're too much." After that incident, Lu Yi embarked on a year-long journey of acting like a resentful husband. He always made himself available for me to tease, and afterwards, he would demand a formal status from me. If he didn't get it, he would go around claiming that a heartless woman had deceived him both emotionally and physically. It was truly a tale that could make listeners sad and viewers cry. Sometimes, in his madness, he would buy all sorts of locks and give them to me. "Lock me up. Will you love me then? I truly belong to you heart and soul." "What do I need to do to make you believe that?" "I am a person who believes in frugality." Since he bought them, it would be a waste not to use them. Once I actually locked him up, his madness subsided. "Sweetheart, I knew you loved me, but such states never lasted long." After Yan Zhao returned from studying abroad, Lu Yi started his craziness again. "Sweetheart, should I get a tattoo? I'll tattoo your name all over me, so everyone knows I'm yours. Is that okay?" My eyelids twitched, and just the thought made my toes curl. I grabbed his hand and slipped a ring onto his ring finger. "Mine." Lu Yi burst into tears. "Damn, I finally have a status. I promise, from now on, there won't even be a female mosquito by my side except for you." The day Yan Zhao asked me out for dinner, Lu Yi showed up uninvited. He was extremely friendly towards Yan Zhao, but he kept fiddling with the ring on his finger throughout the conversation. After the meal, Yan Zhao gifted me a necklace made from a meteorite. Nuan Nuan. Every meteorite is like the ancient starlight, symbolizing the passage of time. It has witnessed the wandering of the universe and recorded millennia. I hope it can also witness our future together. Nuan Nuan, let's be together. Lu Yi shoved the necklace back into Yan Zhao's hands. "Classmate Yan, why don't you stick with your cosmic stars? Nuan Nuan is mine." The next second, I was literally carried away by Lu Yi. "Honey, would you like to try how a 20-year-old husband feels? It will definitely make you happy." That happiness lasted until the next morning. He held my waist with one hand, his husky voice in my ear. "Sweetheart, your waist is so slim, I can't take this anymore. Get away from me." I cried out. "Sweetheart, have some pity on me. I've been celibate since my last life." Lu Yi's uncontrollable joy angered me. Afterwards, I locked him up again. "You better continue being celibate." Story 2. After spending a lifetime with my husband, I was reborn in my college days. I excitedly ran to find my husband and saw him confessing his feelings to the campus beauty under the dormitory building. "Missing you would be the biggest regret of my life." 1. Gu Qiao, you've been standing in front of the mirror for at least half an hour. What are you doing? Of course, admiring my beauty. I was mesmerized by the reflection in the mirror, a slim and slender girl, with a tiny waist, long legs, fair skin, and not a single wrinkle on her face. Is this really what I looked like at 18? Youth is truly wonderful. Stop being vain. It's bustling downstairs. Jiang Chen is holding flowers at the door, waiting to confess to someone. My roommate, Dai Na, came in with a cup of milk tea, excitedly sharing the gossip with me. "Jiang Chen." I slapped my forehead, having been so caught up in admiring my youthful and beautiful body that I had completely forgotten about my husband. I casually threw on a coat and hurriedly ran towards the dormitory building downstairs. Jiang Chen must have been reborn with me. with a younger body. His mindset is younger too, he even knows to bring me flowers now. The last time he gave me flowers was the year our child was born, the only time he ever gave me flowers, thanking me for continuing his family's lineage, thinking of our child. I touched my flat stomach. Ah, I even have abs now. My dear child, let mom enjoy a few more years of happiness, let me savor a few more years of youth before I bring you into the world. Jian Chen and I were college sweethearts, making our way from university to the marriage altar. We argued, broke up, and made up. We've been poor, strived together, became wealthy, and even went bankrupt. During our poorest days, we lived in a basement, surviving on plain water and white buns, and when cravings hit hard, we splurged on a packet of pickles. When we were wealthy, we bought a villa, and Jiangchen even bought apartments for his parents and siblings. We supported each other through thick and thin, hand in hand, completing a lifetime together. In our past life, we were so busy starting businesses and making money that by the time we reached old age, we realized we had been too focused on work and hadn't truly lived or seen the world. Given another chance, we would definitely travel more and accomplish all those things we wanted to do but didn't have the time or energy for. 2. Jianchen stood at the dormitory entrance holding a bouquet of flowers, likely nervous, his hand resting on his pants with his middle finger continuously picking at the seam. I chuckled. In our graduation year, we started an e-commerce company together. Jiangchen was introverted and quiet, not good at socializing, and a bit socially anxious. For business, he had to learn to exchange pleasantries with people, a habit he picked up back then. Great, Jiangchen was reborn with me. Gu Qiao, what are you looking at? My roommate and best friend, Zhou Xiaoxi, poked my arm, also curious to look outside. Just then, Jiangchen turned his head. Sunlight casting on his youthful and handsome face, his eyes shimmering with specks of gold. Seeing me, he shyly pressed his lips together into a smile, revealing 2 shallow dimples. Jiangchen at 18 always made my heart flutter. He approached me with the flowers, just like in our past life, his every step matching a lifetime together. I took a deep breath and opened my arms, ready to embrace my happiness once again. Zhou Xiaoxi, I've liked you for a long time, missing you would be the biggest regret of my life. Would you give me a chance to be my girlfriend? Zhou Xiaoxi was clearly flustered. She blushed, looking around as many onlooking students started to chant, say yes, say yes, say yes. I numbly withdrew my hands, only then realizing that Jiangchen was passionately gazing at Zhou Xiaoxi. His gaze was straightforward and fervent. Amidst the bustling world, his eyes only saw Zhou Xiaoxi. I stood beside Zhou Xiaoxi, feeling like a mere backdrop, unnoticed by Jiangchen, who didn't even spare a glance in my direction. So, Jiangchen, who has been my husband for a lifetime, has he always harbored feelings for Zhou Xiaoxi instead? I staggered back 2 steps as memories from a previous life flooded my mind. It had rained lightly that day as I rushed out to collect a parcel. Zhou Xiaoxi mentioned she had left my umbrella at the library and insisted on lending me her jacket and hat instead, claiming they were waterproof and would prevent a cold in the chilly weather. Hurriedly I wore her clothes and dashed outside, only to bump into Jiangchen the moment I exited the dormitory. He grabbed my arm, his head bowed, and confessed, I like you, be my girlfriend. I had been fond of Jiangchen for a long time, having fallen for him since the start of the school term. The boy I had a secret crush on confessed his feelings in the rain. That was when I began to love rainy days. No wonder, after we got together, Jiangchen rarely initiated messages or asked me out. I thought he was just reserved and not fond of being overly sentimental. Most importantly, I was completely dazed by this unexpected blessing, blinded by passionate love. I threw myself wholeheartedly into the relationship. How ironic, maybe Jiangchen initially mistook me for Zhou Xiaoxi, that's why. After his rebirth, his first priority was to start over with Zhou Xiaoxi. A lifetime together couldn't outweigh the perpetual beloved in his heart. I took a step back, then another. Jiangchen anxiously awaited Zhou Xiaoxi's response, his forehead beaded with sweat from excitement, one drop trickling over his eyebrow into his eye, yet, he kept his eyes wide open, fearful of missing her reply by even a blink. My heart felt as heavy as if it were weighed down, as though I had swallowed a chunk of ice in the bitter cold. How rare, even when we went to meet important clients in our previous life, Jiangchen was never this nervous. When I was giving birth, his parents insisted on a natural delivery, arguing that a cesarean wasn't good for the child, but our baby was well nourished, and the doctor estimated he weighed over 7 pounds, recommending a cesarean. Pale-faced, I lay on the bed clutching Jiangchen's hand, asking if he was nervous about the birth. He casually remarked, "Modern medicine is advanced, don't worry unnecessarily," and then he went off to play video games. I was furious then, yet after the surgery, he brought me a bouquet of flowers. That's just how Jiangchen is, a slap followed by a sweetener. He wasn't nervous about childbirth, meeting clients, our son's college entrance exams, nor about getting a daughter-in-law, but this confession, across 2 lifetimes. Why was he so nervous now? I looked intently at Jiangchen. The man I had loved all my life, his features overlapped with the shadows in my memory, shattering the beautiful dream I had lived. Stay together, stay together, stay together. The world around was noisy and chaotic, the sounds seemed distant and then close, and the figures before me overlapped. I pinched my palm, I felt like I might be suffering from heatstroke. I need to think it over. Facing the jeering crowd, Zhou Xiaoxi looked panicked. She glanced around the crowd and finally cast a pleading look at me. At that moment, Jiangchen finally noticed me. He walked over briskly with flowers and firmly squeezed my arm. "Gu Qiao, this is wonderful. Are you here too? You're the closest to Zhou Xiaoxi. Please, persuade her for me. I've really liked her for many years now. I promise I'll treat her very well in the future. Please, help me, too." The dazzling sunset bathed Jiangchen in a soft golden light. I looked at his partly illuminated face against the light, and my memories took me back to the year we started our business. By the time we finished work at the company, it was already midnight, and there were no buses or subways running. Taking a taxi was out of the question since it was too expensive, and our home was quite far from the company. A taxi fare of over 30 yuan could cover both of our daily expenses. The winter streets were so cold that our toes numbed, but as I walked with Jiangchen, breathing out misty air, I felt an unstoppable joy in my heart. Life was tough, but I was not alone. Having the person I love by my side made the future look promising and bright. Jiangchen rarely took the initiative, but this time he held my hand and thanked me for being willing to endure hardships with him, promising a better life ahead. He said he loved me. 3. This is between the two of us. Why put Gu Qiao in a difficult position? Zhou Xiaoxi's crisp voice rang out as she walked up and took my arm, lifting her chin gracefully towards Jiangchen. "I need to think about this. You go back first. Let's go, Gu Qiao. Let's go have dinner." After saying this, Zhou Xiaoxi, leaving a dejected Jiangchen behind, pulled me away. 4. Come back to reality. Zhou Xiaoxi waved her hand in front of me. "Your noodles are going to get mushy. You look so preoccupied. What's on your mind?" Chewing on my chopsticks, my emotions were mixed. "Don't you accept Jiangchen?" I asked cautiously, then felt foolish. Having been reincarnated back to our college days, Jiangchen and I were both free, legally. He owed me nothing, and the promises of the past life were just that, past. Now, we were neither spouses nor lovers. He indeed had every right to pursue happiness anew. Hey, just because he says something, doesn't mean I have to agree. What would that make me? Men, they only treasure what they can't easily have. Let's leave him hanging for a couple of days and see how he behaves. Zhou Xiaoxi spoke nonchalantly, used to the attention from many boys. Jiangchen, despite his graceful looks, was not exactly a world-class handsome guy. I took a sip of my noodle soup, trying to suppress the sour feeling inside, and couldn't help but feel a bit envious of Zhou Xiaoxi. Zhou Xiaoxi's parents were well off, her father owned a company, and her mother was a civil servant. Unlike Jiangchen and me who came from the countryside, Zhou Xiaoxi had the confidence and pride of a city kid. What I longed for but couldn't have, to her, was just commonplace. 5. Jiangchen wasn't brought down by Zhou Xiaoxi's rejection. Having lived a lifetime once already, his mental resilience had greatly improved. He started showing up daily at our dormitory, diligently bringing Zhou Xiaoxi various gifts, flowers, milk tea, snacks, fried chicken. Our dorm mates, having eaten his gifts, began to tease Zhou Xiaoxi. From initial sadness and anger to resignation, my mindset also quickly stabilized. Jiangchen hadn't even considered that I might have reincarnated too, looking at me as if I were a stranger, and even blocked me to avoid misunderstanding with Zhou Xiaoxi. 60 years of shared life, wasn't there any familial love if not romantic love? Only then did I realize how terribly wrong I had been. I had loved Jiangchen all my life, whereas he, perhaps, had just endured me. In our youth, we were together because of a misunderstanding. He was too shy to break up with me because of his thin skin. As time went on, I ended up helping him so much that I even paid for my own dowry when we got married. He felt indebted and found it even harder to speak up. For me, this long life was like a beautiful fairy tale. For Jiang Chen, however, it was a suffocating cage. He didn't love me, but he couldn't leave me either. Now that he has finally escaped from the cage, why would he want to get involved with me again? Xiaoxi, are you really not considering accepting Jiang Chen? Dana asked, nibbling on the braised chicken feet Jiang Chen bought, her eyes twinkling with the light of gossip. Zhou Xiaoxi was applying a face mask and spoke in a hushed voice as if squeezing the words from her throat. What are you talking about? The Red Army's long march was still 25,000 miles long. Of course, I must thoroughly test a man. I was deeply engrossed in my book when a sudden thought struck me. Where does Jiang Chen get all this money to buy so many things? Oh, damn, it suddenly dawned on me. Our class has an annual high-value scholarship, which awards the recipient 10,000 yuan each year, and I've been letting Jiang Chen have that spot. Both of us came from poor rural families. But my grades have always been better than Jiang Chen's, and my family's financial situation was even worse. The counselor even specifically told me that I was the most suitable candidate for the scholarship, but thinking of Jiang Chen's perpetually faded genes, I decided to give the spot to him and chose to do part-time jobs to support myself. Now, I just want to slap myself hard. The scholarship money was just distributed, and there Jiang Chen was, flush with money. And he's using it all to chase after Zhou Xiaoxi. Fuming, I stood up abruptly and snatched the box of chicken feet from Dana's hands. I want some too. Dana jumped in surprise. What's the matter? Are you that hungry? Eat, 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 it's all yours. Oh, right, Gu Qiao. Did you hear about the new Alumni Association scholarship the school is offering? I smacked my thigh as I gnawed on the chicken feet, realizing I had forgotten about it. There's a senior from our department who graduated 2 years ago, Pei Ning, who had a successful startup. I heard he raised several hundred million just in funding. He recently collaborated with our school on a project and on a whim decided to sponsor 2 students from our department. One spot went to someone from the class next door, and the other, naturally, went to Jiang Chen, because I gave it to him, unlike the school's scholarship. The one from Pei Ning covers all university tuition and living expenses for 4 years, which later became Jiang Chen's startup capital after graduation. I spat out the chicken feet and rushed to the counselor's office. In my past life, I had told the counselor I was withdrawing from the competition, but this time, I couldn't miss the opportunity. Breathless, I reached the counselor's office and leaned against the door. Gasping for air, inside, a tall figure stood with his back to me. Indistinct against the light, but his voice was a familiar, cold tone. Teacher, Gu Qiao has already given up this spot. Please give it to me. Wait, I panted, wishing my glare could kill Jiang Chen. Wait a minute, teacher. I want to compete for this spot again. The counselor brightened up upon seeing me. Oh, Gu Qiao, you've finally come around. It's right for you to focus more on your studies instead of working all the time. With your talent, you should really be concentrating on your academics. Jiang Chen looked at me incredulously, clearly surprised by my behavior. Gu Qiao, you've always refused scholarships, haven't you? Seeing Jiang Chen so close, my heart involuntarily clenched. Gu Qiao, I really need this money. Could you let me have this opportunity? Jiang Chen lowered his head and gazed at me intently, her beautiful eyes cast downward, a hint of pleading in her expression. I could never resist Jiang Chen when he looked at me like that. Whenever he made that face, I would have moved heaven and earth for him, even plucking the moon from the sky if he asked. Gu Qiao, can you help me out, please? These words felt so familiar, repeated countless times throughout our long yet fleeting lives together. Gu Qiao, my younger brother is grown up now. He wants to get married. You're his sister-in-law. You wouldn't want to see him stay single forever, right, Gu Qiao? My sister is getting married, but her fiancé isn't well off. Could you buy her a house so she can hold her head high at her in-laws' place? Gu Qiao, our parents are getting old. I want to move them in with us so we can take better care of them. Amidst constant praises of Gu Qiao, you're the best, I kept giving in, kept compromising, until I became the weakest member of the Gu family. Due to overworking and pushing myself too hard, I ended up with gastritis, herniated lumbar discs, cervical spondylosis, and shoulder periarthritis. Jiang Chen, you shouldn't say things like that. Gu Qiao has given up her scholarship opportunities for you these past 2 years. Her grades and overall evaluations are much higher than yours, and her family isn't well off. Her parents didn't want her to continue her education, preferring her to get married instead. She's been working part-time to pay for her own tuition and living expenses, as a fellow student. You should think beyond just yourself. Gu Qiao is more deserving of this scholarship in every respect. Our teacher glared at me disapprovingly, trying to silence me with a stern look. In my past life, I married Jiang Chen in his rural hometown. Our teacher took a day-long train ride just to give me a generous red envelope at the wedding. On that day, she held my hand, her eyes brimming with tears. Gu Qiao, you need to learn to love yourself. It took me 2 lifetimes to truly understand the meaning of her words. In my previous life, Jiang Chen was the brightest light in my dim world, my salvation and my hope. In this life, I am determined to be my own light. Having left the office deep in thought, Jiang Chen looked at me again and again. He scrutinized me with furrowed brows, his gaze inquisitive and frankly quite rude. Unable to tolerate it any longer, I turned around. What are you looking at? Why did you suddenly change your mind? Jiang Chen asked tentatively. I found it somewhat amusing, since you so easily dismissed our past life and decided to start over. Naturally I couldn't keep indulging and helping you as before, because I'm poor. Jiang Chen blinked, his expression somewhat bewildered. I never complained about my hardships in front of him, no matter the situation. I always managed to smile and insisted I was fine, clearly. My behavior was vastly different from before my rebirth. Xiaobao, you're here. Where's Xiaobao? I looked around, meeting Jiang Chen's expectant gaze. Gu Qiao, you've been reborn too. I neither confirmed nor denied it, simply giving Jiang Chen a deep look before striding forward. Hey, Gu Qiao, why are you upset? Since that's the case, let's just lay everything out on the table. My demeanor frustrated Jiang Chen, as I had pampered him all his life and he was unaccustomed to such coldness from me. Jiang Chen and I sat on a bench by the school lake, the sunlight casting a fine layer of gold leaf upon the water's surface. The scenery was beautiful, but I had no heart to appreciate it, because Jiang Chen said that the happiness of my last life was something I had stolen. I've been tolerant of you for a lifetime and have paid for my own mistakes. What's wrong with pursuing the person I love in this lifetime? Jiang Chen was clearly agitated as he glared at me, his neck stiff with anger, as if I were the root cause of all his misfortunes. Haha, I laughed out of frustration. Jiang Chen, if you didn't like me, why didn't you say so from the beginning? You didn't say it in college, you didn't mention it when we were about to get married, you never brought it up in all these years. I didn't force you at gunpoint to marry me, did I? Jiang Chen grew even angrier. It's all your fault. Right after I confessed, you immediately told your roommate, and Dana, with her big mouth, announced it in the class group, saying I should treat everyone. If I broke up with you right then, what would our classmates think? After we got together, everyone kept saying how good you were to me, as if I'd be branded a heartbreaker the moment I left you. Gu Qiao, it's all because of you. You put me on this moral high ground, coercing me for a lifetime with conscience and morality. In my memory, Jiang Chen was handsome, his pale skin and distinct features making him shine brightly. He was the most attractive person I'd ever seen, whether as a youth, an adult, or an old man. Squinting, I scrutinized Jiang Chen's face inch by inch and for the first time noticed that his skin, although fair, was slightly dull, and he had 2 pimples on his chin. His nose was high but a bit too broad, making him look less refined. The shining Jiang Chen was, after all, just a slightly more delicate-looking ordinary student. His glow came from my love, not from himself. Since that's the case, let's pretend we never knew each other in this life and never contact each other again. Goodbye. I stood up, turned, and walked away, feeling something inside me collapse into ruins. I came from a rural family that greatly favored boys over girls, where my parents saw having a daughter as a significant loss, trying everything to recoup their investment through me. In middle school, my parents repeatedly said that as soon as I graduated from junior high, I would start working. To escape the fate of working in a factory, I studied hard and eventually topped my city's exams to get into a prestigious school. The school waived all my fees and even promised me a scholarship. The village chief and local leaders also visited several times, urging my parents to let me continue my education. After high school, my parents agreed I could attend university, but I had to send home 2,000 yuan every month. I agreed without hesitation and then found an excuse to transfer my household registration to the school. After moving my registration, I blocked all contact with my parents. They had never traveled far in their lives and, due to their lack of concern, didn't know my specific major or class. With the help of the village chief, I finally freed myself from my parents during my university years. I became someone without a family, so I desperately longed for a home, for love. In my past life, I clung to Jiangchen like a drowning person grasping at a log. I so yearned for a home that even when Jiangchen was not always kind to me, it was still 100 times better than my parents. In that rural home, I didn't even have a room of my own. My bed was in a corner of the living room, devoid of privacy and dignity. I saw Jiangchen as my salvation, any kindness he showed, I was ready to repay with my life. Now I realize that I shouldn't seek love from others, I should learn to love myself. No one but yourself can be your savior. I ran forward with large strides, leaving all my past and darkness behind. I eventually received the scholarship. My counselor mentioned that Pei Ning, the alumnus who provided the scholarship, wanted to meet me. Is it him? It turned out to be him. I stared in astonishment at the familiar man in front of me. He was one of our company's investors who injected funds to save us after our company went bankrupt. After I married Jiangchen, he disappeared from our world. I didn't expect to see him again and couldn't help feeling excited. Hello, Senior Pei. Thank you, Senior Pei. My serious bow made him laugh. Please, have a seat. Meeting Pei Ning was delightful, and we even exchanged contact information. He mentioned that I could reach out to him if I faced any difficulties in life. Elated, I walked back to my dorm, believing in repaying kindness with even greater kindness. Pei Ning had helped me tremendously in his previous life, and he remains a benefactor in this life. I've spent a lifetime in e-commerce, and now, as it's just beginning to bloom, Pei Ning's company hasn't yet set up an e-commerce team. I could help him with this, considering it a repayment of his kindness. Feeling cheerful, I generously bought a bag of fruits and snacks to treat my roommates. Upon returning to the dorm, I found 2 large bags of KFC on Zhou Xiaoxi's desk. Seeing me, Zhou Xiaoxi handed me a burger and 2 egg tarts. Here, you haven't had lunch, right? Eat them while they're hot, Dana teased from the side. Go on, eat. This is the Joy Burger. I blinked in confusion. What burger? Oh, Xiaoxi is now with Jiangchen. Zhou Xiaoxi rolled her eyes at Dana. Eat up, even a chicken leg can't shut you up. I was surprised to look at Zhou Xiaoxi. She was with Jiangchen. Zhou Xiaoxi glanced at me awkwardly. Living in the same dorm, virtually spending 24 hours together. I could hide my feelings for Jiangchen from others but not from Zhou Xiaoxi, who slept across from me. The 2 hardest things to hide in this world are coughing and love. Zhou Xiaoxi adjusted her hair and gave an awkward smile. Gu Qiao, you don't mind, right? I gave a genuinely sincere smile. What are you talking about? Of course, I don't mind. We're friends. That's what matters. The past is dark and irretrievable, but the road ahead is bright and brilliant. Jiangchen is just part of the past now. I only want to focus on studying hard and earning money. Dinner was with the past. Jiangchen invited our entire dorm to have hot pot. At the dinner table, he was very attentive to Zhou Xiaoxi, pulling out chairs, pouring water, peeling shrimp. Zhou Xiaoxi was touched but also a bit embarrassed. She kept glancing at me, worried I might be upset. But I just kept my head down, busily indulging in the beef and tripe. When Jiangchen and I were together, we were both poor students. I was reluctant to spend his money, and our dates were always inexpensive fast food, splitting the bill afterward. It wasn't often that Jiangchen could treat. I had to eat more, maybe even make up for what I missed in a past life. I used to think sincerity could be reciprocated with sincerity, but now I know, human hearts can't be traded for loyalty. When we settled the bill for dinner, Jiangchen paid over 500 yuan. Normally, that would have been half a month's living expenses for him. We might be well off in our later years, accustomed to spending freely, but it's hard to adjust all at once. I wonder what he'll do when he realizes how hard money is to come by now. Everyone thinks being reborn means you know the secret to wealth, but here we are, second-year college students, unable to scrounge up 1,000 yuan between us. I remember some stocks that multiplied in value, though, but in the short term, there really hasn't been much change. Buying a house seems even more unattainable. We barely have enough to cover meals. Where would the money for a house come from? Jiangchen's family situation is pretty similar to mine. The only difference is that he's a boy and the eldest son, so his parents spend all their money on him. That's why he is in a better position than I am. I started spending every day at the library, diligently working on marketing plans. Pei Ning owns a small smart home appliance company, which at the moment only sells in major shopping malls. As an experienced e-commerce professional, I know that time is opportunity. The sooner you enter the market, the bigger the piece of the pie you can secure. In my previous life, when Jiang Chen and I ran a company together, I was in charge of operations and sales, and he handled after-sales service and factory coordination, so, planning was second nature to me, and within a few days, I had prepared a detailed business plan. Did you do this? Pei Ning asked, relaxed, sitting back in his chair, flipping through my business plan page by page, staring at his handsome face. I couldn't help but feel a bit nervous. In my past life, although I had achieved some success through relentless effort, I was only slightly better off than the average person, but Pei Ning, he was the real tycoon. If I could gain his recognition and join forces with him, my achievements in this life could reach new heights. Not bad. Our team is already preparing to set up an e-commerce department. Come intern at my company when you're free from classes. Really, thank you, senior. I clenched my fists, my eyes sparkling as I looked at Pei Ning. All the hard work recently had finally paid off. Hello, here are your cheesecake, vanilla milk, and strawberry waffle. This was the only coffee shop near our school gate. The prices were steep, and I had only been here once with Zhou Xiaoxi. I watched in astonishment as the waiter brought a table full of cakes. Pei Ning straightened the crease on his sleeve and stood up, saying, "All right, I have to leave now. Little girl, eat up, you're too thin." Pei Ning left. Taking my carefully crafted business plan with him, I settled into the chair, slowly enjoying the cake. The cheesecake was very soft, with a rich creamy taste. So sweet. What did you say? Jiang Chen asked you for money. Dana stared at Zhou Xiaoxi in disbelief, and I was also surprised. After my initial shock, I somewhat understood. This behavior of Jiang Chen's was something I had indulged in the past. I worked hard at my jobs while he spent his time in the library after class. As a result, I ended up being more financially stable than him and often gave him money to help out. He was too proud to ask, so I just treated it as a loan. Jiang Chen and I were each other's first love, and we never got involved with anyone else after getting together. Perhaps Jiang Chen thought that borrowing money from a partner in such a close relationship was normal, like borrowing money from a good buddy. How much did he ask for? How could he bring himself to ask? How long have you two been together? Dana grabbed Zhou Xiaoxi's arm, her face filled with incredulity. It's not much, just 1,000 yuan. He said he invested his scholarship money in stocks. Jiang Chen had never dealt with stocks in college. If I remember correctly, it wasn't until we were in our 40s and more financially settled that he started exploring investment and personal finance. Does he really remember the stock market fluctuations from his college days? It's not a small amount. 1,000 yuan is nearly a month's living expenses, and you only think it's not much because you're well off. Zhou Xiaoxi was also somewhat upset. I definitely won't lend it to him. What kind of man asks a woman for money? If he doesn't have money, he shouldn't be dating. Recently, he's been buying me this and that, and now he expects me to foot the bill, but he didn't receive the same warm welcome or opportunities. He was mainly assigned to handle menial tasks such as printing and copying documents. After all, Jiang Chen's expertise was in customer service, which, in the realm of e-commerce, isn't highly technical. I thrived in my internship, seamlessly fitting into the new environment. Pei Ning, the company head, was quite generous with the internship salary and even provided a scholarship, which meant I no longer needed to work part-time to pay for my tuition and living expenses. This allowed me to devote more time to my studies, leading to a busy yet fulfilling life. As for Jiang Chen, although he managed to secure the internship through his counselor's connections, he didn't have the same smooth experience as I did. Jiang Chen didn't visit often because he spent a lot of time dating. However, with his diligent efforts, he managed to reconcile with Zhou Xiaoxi. Jiang Chen treasured this relationship deeply, putting forth immense effort to maintain it. Dating was an activity that cost both money and time. He accompanied Zhou Xiaoxi on shopping trips, movie dates, and celebrated various occasions like birthdays, Christmas, and Valentine's Day. Money was spent like flowing water, and gradually, Jiang Chen began to feel the strain. He tried to take Zhou Xiaoxi to more affordable restaurants, but after just one visit, they ended up arguing. Can you believe how ridiculous Jiang Chen is? I spent 2 hours on makeup, washed my hair, and put on new clothes, only for him to take me to eat spicy hot pot. The place was so greasy, and just sitting there a while left a smell on my clothes and hair. He clearly doesn't respect me. Angrily, Zhou Xiaoxi threw her bag on the table, her eyes red with frustration. I was engrossed in my book when I heard this, and looked up confusedly. What's wrong with eating spicy hot pot on a date? Zhou Xiaoxi marched up to me and pinched my face. Are you silly? Him taking me to eat spicy hot pot shows that he values me as little as a bowl of spicy hot pot. Today it's spicy hot pot, tomorrow it'll be plain boiled water with steamed buns. Besides, if dating means only eating spicy hot pot, why bother dating? Isn't it better to be single? There's absolutely no way I'll lower my standard of living. Zhou Xiaoxi's views on relationships were vastly different from mine and quite jarring to my beliefs. In my mind, dating was about mutual contribution and sharing both good times and bad. What about people who are really poor? How do they manage to date? Zhou Xiaoxi rolled her eyes. If they're that poor, obviously they should focus on making money. Dating costs money and time, and if you can barely afford meals, how can you even think about dating? And if a man truly loves a girl, why would he want her to suffer with him? Seeing my bewildered face, Zhou Xiaoxi pulled up a chair to sit opposite me and began to lecture earnestly. Gu Qiao, don't be foolish. People say the three joys of a man's life are promotion, wealth, and the death of his wife. Why would his wife die when he becomes rich? Naturally, it's because he goes looking for someone younger and prettier. Do you think if you suffer with a man all your life, he'll be grateful? He'll only think he's amazing, that he has personal charm. Once he makes money, the first person he'll ditch is you. You've seen him at his worst, so he can't even brag in front of you, isn't it true? After Jiangchen became young again, the first thing he did was replace me, his long-suffering wife. I held Zhou Xiaoxi's hand. Keep talking, you're making sense. Back in our previous lives, although we were roommates, we seldom had time to chat. I was always working, rushing from one job to another with my backpack, hustling at the school gate's various shops. When my roommates were still sleeping, I had already left, and by the time I rushed back to the dorm at night, they were ready to sleep. Life continued at its own pace, with Zhou Xiaoxi and Jiangchen frequently arguing. I, on the other hand, poured all my energy into studying and working. Summer came quickly, and I applied to stay in the dorm as usual. It had been 2 years since I last visited my parents' home. When I got married in my previous life, they demanded a dowry of 300,000 yuan from Jiangchen, threatening to humiliate him in his village with a loudspeaker if he didn't comply. Although I ended up paying this money myself, my parents' actions made it difficult for me to face Jiangchen. At that time, Jiangchen gave me tremendous support. He said my parents were not good to me, but he would always treat me well and give me a true home. I had repaid my parents' kindness in my previous life. In this life, I owed no one. I worked tirelessly, even spending weekends at the company, almost wishing I could sleep there. My colleagues, especially our team leader, came one after another to give me advice. Joe, even though you're young, you need to take care of your health. Are you facing any difficulties in life? Don't worry, just talk to me. If money can solve it, then it's not a problem at all. I couldn't help but laugh and refuse, but this incident even alarmed Pei Ning. Here, take this bonus. I stared at the check for 300,000, dumbfounded. Boss, is the bonus really this much? Our company is full of young people and has a great atmosphere. Everyone calls Pei Ning boss, and after a while, I started to call him that too without thinking. Pei Ning nodded. You're worth that much. At that time, houses in many prefecture-level cities cost only 3,000 to 4,000 per square meter. The bonus Pei Ning gave me was enough to buy a house. The head of the e-commerce department gets a commission on sales. From now on, whatever Old Su gets, you will get too. I gasped. Old Su is our team leader and a computer science graduate from a prestigious university, and I was just going to be a junior after the summer break. The key point was that this commission was really high, at least several million a year. I opened my mouth, wanting to refuse but also reluctant to let go, standing there torn. Pei Ning came over and gently patted the top of my head. I said, "You're worth that much." Dizzily walking out of the office, I felt like I had been hit by a pie falling from the sky. Is there a more generous boss than Pei Ning in this world? Definitely not. Hey, Gu Qiao, do you want to buy some cryptocurrencies to play around with? I was still lost in the dream of earning millions a year when my shoulder was tapped by our team leader. What kind of coin? Bitcoin. It just came out recently. And it seems pretty interesting. Bitcoin. The same Bitcoin that was a few cents each when it first came out and later rose to $140,000 each. So, I spent the entire 300,000 check on Bitcoin, ending up with 500,000 Bitcoins. Buying too much of this stuff was unnecessary, as it would be hard to sell in large quantities later on. With these 500,000 Bitcoins, what else would I have to worry about in my life? Suddenly, I felt an endless surge of confidence. The future me was already a billionaire. What else was there to fear? Of course, I still needed to work. No matter how rich I might be in the future, I still need to eat and buy a house now. Brother, I finally found you. Brother, I was seriously reviewing an operational report when suddenly a baby's cry broke out in the office. Jiang Taohua, Taohua, what are you doing here? Jiang Chen stood up awkwardly, his face flushed red. Brother. Something happened at home, brother. Everyone in the office stood up because Jiang Taohua was only 19 years old, and with her baby face, she looked more like a high school student at first glance. A high school student holding a baby was an odd sight no matter how you looked at it. Jiang Chen, who is this? Jiang Chen sternly took Jiang Taohua and headed outside. I remembered that something indeed happened in Jiang Chen's family a year ago. His father had broken his leg while working on a construction site, and it was quite serious. I even helped with some of the medical expenses at the time. But why did Jiang Taohua bring a child with her? Jiang Taohua was a traditional rural girl who dropped out of junior high to work and support her brother's education. After working for several years, she had an early marriage and started a family with a boy from the village. Her family received a dowry of 100,000 yuan from the groom's side, but her own dowry was only 3 quilts, making her life quite difficult after marriage. However, she was extremely proud of her brother, who attended a prestigious university, always talking about him with great admiration. Jiang Chen's younger brother was still in middle school, and with their father's recent accident, the family was facing hard times. Sure enough, Jiang Chen soon came upstairs, looking dejected, and pulled me aside. Gu Qiao, could you lend me 100,000 yuan? I thought I was hearing things. What? Gu Qiao, he's the man you've called dad for so many years. You can't just ignore this, can you? Are you out of your mind? He's your dad. What does that have to do with me? Jiang Chen took a deep breath. Then, please, for old time's sake as classmates, lend me some money. I promise I'll pay you back. Get lost. Jiang Taohua had her hands full with marriage and children, and Jiang's mother had to take care of her youngest son and the elderly at home, so it fell on Jiang Chen to look after their father. He began dozing off frequently at work and his performance was a mess. After the summer break, the company revoked Jiang Chen's internship. Without that easy, high-paying job, Jiang Chen had to start juggling part-time jobs, which caused his grades to plummet. Finally, when everyone in his senior year was busy looking for jobs and internships, Zhou Xiaoxi broke up with him again. Zhou Xiaoxi, come out here. Jiang Chen, red-eyed, stood under the dormitory building, yelling for a long time. Dana, and I stood by, helpless. Dana was furious, her chest heaving. Jiang Chen is crazy. Why keep harassing her after breaking up? How many days has he been at this? I looked at Jiang Chen with disdain. He had a second chance at life, yet he was messing it up. Poor performance at work, poor grades, and naturally, his love life was failing too. It seemed he thought having a second chance meant he had a magic touch, that the future was bright, but without effort, what future could there be? Just like studying, someone who doesn't work hard couldn't enter a good university even if they repeated high school 10 times. Life is similar. Being reborn just meant understanding the trends of the times better, having a few more opportunities than others, but it didn't mean you could succeed effortlessly. Even if you wanted to make money through real estate, you still had to earn your initial capital. But Jiang Chen had always been laid back. Even in his past life it was me who had to push him forward, which often led to arguments. He liked fishing, painting, and drinking tea. He believed money was never ending and that life needed to be poetic and picturesque. As for me, I always wanted to reach higher and further, to see those vistas I'd never seen before. I'm so mad. Meeting Jiang Chen was really bad luck. Zhou Xiaoxi was so upset she couldn't even eat. You don't know how outrageous Jiang Chen is. Always saying we'd get married right after graduation, and he talked about striving together to buy a house here and then moving his parents in. His sister was even scarier. She spent an entire meal talking to me about how I should bear several sons for their family and serve his parents well after we got married. Are they inheriting a throne or what? Talking about sons, please, someone's personal circumstances might improve with effort, but family values are hard to change. I need to run fast or what? Wait to become their servant. I lowered my head in shame. Jiang Chen's family had said similar things to me before, and although it was uncomfortable, I hadn't taken it to heart at the time. After several entanglements, Jiang Chen found himself increasingly the subject of gossip among the girls, seeing that Zhou Xiaoxi still ignored him. He had no choice but to give up. After all, he now needed to earn his own tuition and living expenses. Besides attending classes, he was also busy working part-time. I am so glad that I didn't dive headfirst into the whirlpool of love like Jiangchen did, neglecting everything else. Pei Ning kept his promise and gave me a bonus at the end of my senior year. I used that money to mortgage a few well-located properties, and my life began to stabilize. Zhou Xiaoxi remained a close friend of mine. She passed the civil service exam, and her family bought her a house in full, allowing her to live a comfortable and relaxed life. Many of our classmates also stayed in this city, and I ended up being the most successful among them. Later, I heard that Jiangchen was still single, continually going on blind dates. However, without a house or car, and coming from a less affluent family, not many girls with better prospects were interested in him. Zhou Xiaoxi got married to a high school classmate, a childhood sweetheart who was well-matched in social status. After attending the wedding, I encountered Jiangchen at the hotel entrance. He looked somewhat haggard, his pale chin covered in stubble. Gu Qiao, are you laughing at me inside? I'm just trying to pursue my own love. What's wrong with that? I chuckled lightly. Jiangchen, I used to think the same way in my past life. With that, I drove off in my 911 without looking back. Under the sunlight, Jiangchen stood forlornly at the entrance, watching me leave, unable to move for a long time. End of the story. Jiangchen's side story. 1. I ended up with Zhou Xiaoxi. Finally, I was with the woman I had longed for my whole life. I was thrilled, feeling as if I had been reborn by fate to rectify this regret. It's not that Gu Qiao was bad, there probably isn't a more virtuous and generous woman than her anywhere, but being with her was just too exhausting. When I first got into university, the village chief and others celebrated, sending me off with drums and gongs. Since childhood, I had been the pride of the village, but after being with Gu Qiao, she overshadowed me in everything. She was better than me in studies, in work, in everything. We started a company together, and whenever I went to the factory or discussed business, everyone would say how lucky I was to have such a great wife. They talked about how outstanding, hardworking, and capable Gu Qiao was. How ridiculous. As if I wasn't competent myself, it seemed like I was living off her success. I grew increasingly tired of Gu Qiao. Every day, she was like a whirlwind, managing the company, the kids, and me. She would urge me to handle business, push me to meet performance targets, and even openly criticize my department's failure to meet quarterly goals during company meetings. She was the same with our child, pushing for academic excellence, piano lessons, basketball. It was as if he was training for a decathlon. Being her son was truly miserable. A woman should be gentle, delicate, pure, and kind to be adorable, just like Zhou Xiaoxi, who could act coy, dress up, and sweetly call me brother. I would have given anything to see her happy smile. 2. We've been together for half a month now. I began to feel that something was off. Why doesn't Zhou Xiaoxi ever pay for anything? It wouldn't matter if I had money, but I'm just a student right now, even though I just received a scholarship. That's my living expenses for the year. When I was with Gu Qiao before, we always split the bill. Gu Qiao always said that men and women are equal now. Girls also work, earn money, and attend university, so it shouldn't always be the boys who pay. I found her point very reasonable. It's the 21st century, after all. I don't mind paying a bit more, but Zhou Xiaoxi should at least contribute sometimes, right? Moreover, she spends so much. One day it's hot pot, the next it's Western food, and then Japanese cuisine the day after. She orders a table full of dishes, takes a few bites of each, and then says she's full. In the end, I reluctantly finish everything because I hate to see food go to waste. I've hinted a few times that Zhou Xiaoxi should pick up the tab, but she just plays dumb. I have no choice but to pay for it all myself. Soon, my money was all spent by Zhou Xiaoxi. When I asked her to lend me money, she even suggested breaking up. I'm sure Gu Qiao must have said something. I know she still loves me, but I've had enough of that life and don't want to rekindle anything with her. It's just terrifying how jealous a woman can be. Is it really impossible for a man to borrow money from a woman? I'm feeling confused. In my previous life, Gu Qiao used to give me money during my toughest times, patting her chest after and saying, "Don't be embarrassed, I'm lending this to you." Although I never had the chance to pay her back, once we became a family, it didn't seem necessary. I opened my phone to see Gu Qiao's photos, but it was filled with pictures of Zhou Xiaoxi. I miss Gu Qiao a bit. During our internship at the same company, seeing Gu Qiao so vibrant and energetic every day stirred a mix of complex emotions in me, even some resentment. she used to say how much she loved me, and now she seems to be living happily without me. I started to deliberately target Gu Qiao, making ambiguous and odd comments. From initially getting angry, Gu Qiao began to ignore me. I panicked. Indifference, not hate, is the opposite of love. Gu Qiao has started to disregard me. She gets along well with her colleagues, and many have even started introducing potential partners to her. As an intern, she became the team leader's favorite. Even Pei Ning couldn't help but take frequent glances at her, and for the first time, I realized that Gu Qiao is truly a remarkable person. Zhou Xiaoxi is too clingy, and it's starting to annoy me. Doesn't she have her own things to do, and every time she reaches out, it's basically to make me pay. I'm growing increasingly intolerant of her, and we've started to argue frequently. Finally, Zhou Xiaoxi and I broke up again, and this time, it seems beyond repair. I stood outside her dormitory building, calling her name every day, but I wasn't really clinging to her. It's just that I abandoned Gu Qiao to pursue Zhou Xiaoxi, and if I can't make it work with Zhou Xiaoxi, my life would be the biggest joke. For Zhou Xiaoxi, I gave up my studies, my internship, and Gu Qiao. I'm feeling lost. Even though I supposedly had the advantage of a rebirth, why does my current life seem worse than my previous one? All the money I invested in the stock market is gone. Those so-called future blue-chip stocks turned out to be disastrous investments for me. Keeping them might bring profits eventually, but that doesn't solve my immediate crisis. I've started working every day, devoting all my time to part-time jobs. Did Gu Qiao also struggle this much in her past life? Why was she able to maintain good grades while working? I find myself missing Gu Qiao more and more. I heard she got promoted, bought a house, and is now the most favored person around Pei Ning. My parents keep urging me to get married, and my colleagues occasionally try to set me up on blind dates. I don't want to get married or go on these blind dates. These girls, so full of themselves and utterly ordinary, have the audacity to judge me harshly. To them, being born in the countryside and having a sibling are flaws. It's laughable. They don't even come close to matching even a toe of Gu Qiao. What right do they have to look down on me? I've started to pour all my energy into my work, and I've gradually come to realize how much Gu Qiao from my past life really helped me. It turns out, she didn't rely on me all her life. Instead, she protected me for a lifetime. I heard Zhou Xiaoxi is getting married, and I was thrilled. She must come if Zhou gets married, right? Sure enough, I saw Gu Qiao, dressed in a tailor-made suit, looking fresh and sharp, the epitome of a powerful woman. She was so dazzling, shining brighter than the sun hanging high in the sky. I didn't want to appear weak in front of her, so I casually started a topic. Gu Qiao said that in her past life, she too was wholeheartedly pursuing her love. I pretended to look at her nonchalantly, but my heart felt like it was being tightly squeezed, the pain making it hard to breathe. In the end, I lost my moon.